8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, good evening, Buccaneer fans all over the place. This is Matt from Oklahoma City, coming to you live on Bucs Report here on Saturday, the 21st of May, and it's preseason, and there's no real news to go around, but we're going to try to do a show and talk about something. So we're going to do things a little bit different tonight. We don't have Teresa Baxter's not doing real well, so she's not going to be on tonight, but I got a special guest. Somebody who's a regular on the show. He calls in all the time. And we're going to just come in and talk, and then you guys can join in as well. I'm still going to put the link out, and if you want to come on and join the conversation, certainly want you to do that. It's going to be a free-for-all pretty much. Don't know everything we're going to talk about, but we're going to see what we can get done. You know this guy. He's from Worcester. That place over in England that's named after the sauce that we put on our hamburgers. Worcester, something like that. His name is Slick. Here he is for you live. Boom. Live from England. Look at that. The world comes together over an internet cord. What do you think about that? Can you hear me, bud?
Hey, man, I can't hear anything. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Don't do that. Log out and try to come back.
I'm gonna leave the show and see if you can add me again because I can't hear nothing.
Okay. All right. The beautiful part of being interconnected, I suppose. Oh my gosh, what a mess. Every time you try to do something special, things get broke. I don't understand. What's his Mike Cooper? Break out the stakes? Yeah, I heard him too. I don't know. He couldn't hear me. So we're talking about something on the other side of the ocean, for goodness sakes. We'll let him come back and try to come on again. Hopefully he'll come back because I haven't really got anything else I can do tonight. That's terrible. We don't have any real news to talk about. We were going to talk about some topics. Here he is back again. Let's try to get this to work. How's that?
Yeah. For some reason, I didn't know if you could hear me, but I
heard you. They heard you too. According to AC, we could hear you. Everybody was working with you.
I couldn't hear nothing.
Oh, we're good now. So
I shared the link. It died on me. Everything died.
That happens, I guess. What do you expect? You're 1,000 miles away on the other side of an ocean.
Absolutely.
Okay. I got things going on here that Teresa normally does. I got to follow comments. I'm going to have to use both sides of my brain. This isn't going to work well tonight. I can just tell. So, oh my goodness.
Whatever you need me to do, Matt. Whatever you need me to do.
Just whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
I was going to say, if you're a USFL fan, you're probably depressed because if you're a Buccaneers fan, you're probably a Tampa Bay Bandits fan.
Sure.
And the Bandits lost today.
Yeah, they did.
They went right down the field, 5 yards out. They couldn't do anything. I don't understand what happened there. That's crazy. But we loved it so much that NBC's got it running on replay because the game that's live now is under a storm warning. So they're re-showing the Buccaneers or the Buccaneers, the Bandits. And the pot-bellied coach, what's his name? Todd something or other. I know him from somewhere else. He must have a bad back because the dude's all fat-bellied, but he's not fat. He's probably
got the big belly. He's got the big belly.
Yeah, he's kind of goofy looking. But he tries, poor guy. They're 3-3. What could be more Tampa than that? 3-3. 6 games into a 10-game schedule. They're 3-3 now. So they're almost good enough, but not quite.
I don't know how everyone else is doing though. That's the thing. I mean, I keep an eye on the Bandits, but I haven't really kept an eye on anyone else. So I don't know how anyone.
The team that's doing well is Birmingham magically because they're the home team.
Oh yeah.
They're undefeated, I think. They were last week. I don't know if they won last week or not. But that's the funny thing about this league that people are starting to wise up to it now. You've got 8 teams there. all sharing the same field, but only one home team because everybody else is New Orleans Breakers, the Tampa Bay Bandits, and the Generals and the Stallions and all that.
Mhm.
So when those games come out, nobody shows up. You couldn't give the tickets away. Nobody wants to be there. The crowds are gone. They've gotten to the point now where the networks are piping in crowd noise. So when they get a first down, you actually hear the crowd that's not there roaring, which is they're not saying it. They didn't announce that they were doing that.
It's
But
like
they
a
are.
Super Bowl season.
It's crazy. They're trying to tell us it's like watching politics. They're doing this, talking one way, and your eyes see something completely different, but they're telling you that that's not what you see. You can't see that. That's not what it is. And they're doing that with the USFL. So next year they need to put the teams in the local areas where they are so they can develop a fan base because obviously the only team that's doing well is the only one that's got anybody cheering for it. And there's not 1,000 people there when they do it. So
It says a lot.
it's not exactly working like they think they should.
What is like in England? We have like multiple different leagues. So Premier League is like the creme de la creme. That is the place you want to be. Then you got the Championship, and they can still turn a good 20,000 people, 30,000 people to a game. And then you have the lesser leagues, and the lesser leagues, and you could get a team that's semi-professional churn out 5,000. So why do you think in America, where there's only one real true league, which is the NFL, that they struggle with any of the feeder leagues or any of the other like bottom leagues, where people just be like, especially when it's like spring, you know what you're watching. I mean, unless you're into other sports, what you're watching.
You're doing what we used to do, and that's follow the preseason, read Sports Illustrated, talk shit at the bar, and then wait for the off-season stuff to start. That's how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about soccer, if you get 11 guys together in the middle of a field, doesn't matter where it is. It could be out right down here in Oklahoma. If in a international kind of format, you get 11 guys on each side of the field and you put a net at the back end of it, somebody's going to show up and watch it because they like the sport. Soccer is universal across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere that there's any team of any caliber whatsoever, somebody's going to show up and watch it. Doesn't matter if it's in Afghanistan or if it's in Brazil or if it's in Venezuela. Even here in the United States, we're slowly getting to the point where we've got good leagues here and we got some not so good leagues here in the United States.
I mean, an amazing ladies team.
Yeah, the ladies team, which is all
who just signed a great deal for equal pay.
They have. I got to give them credit. The women's league does well because people want to watch it. People like me are sexist. We want to watch the girls bouncing up and down the field. We like to see that. And then you find out that half of them are gay.
It's considered as like a kind of universally acceptable sport for a woman to play. So therefore, okay.
Softball and soccer. That's
Yeah.
all they got. No, you got women trying to be in football. They're in the colleges. They're letting them kick and things like that. That's going to happen eventually. But right now, there's a whole bunch of guys my age sitting around in a bar going, "Don't let no little girl out there on a football field."
Not a fan?
Ain't gonna happen. So we got that to deal with. That's something that'll fade away eventually. But there's old people like me that are just stuck in their ways, and we just don't do that. They got girls' sports. It's tennis, lacrosse.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as gendered sports. That's the way. That's why I brought up my daughter. If you want to be what you want to be,
nowadays that's true. But you've got to be honest. I don't know how old you are, but
36.
When I was a kid, you had girls' sports and you had boys' sports.
Sure, it's just trying to raise your child to believe that she's not going to be sectioned by a gender. That's all,
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. I think what they're doing now, to a point, makes sense to me. You talk about Bruce Arians bringing in women on the training teams and bringing in coaches that are female and all this other stuff, and they're getting notoriety. And all of a sudden now it's a big deal that the NFL has female referees, as if gender had a damn thing to do with whether you could run up and down a field and see if somebody held somebody.
Absolutely. My favorite meme, though, is when someone's like, the worst thing you can do is have a woman be a referee because she's going to remind you what you did in 5 games before. I love that because it's just a bit of fun. I know it's a little sexist comment, but it's just a good bit of fun. And I think a real person would just see the fun in that. And I think even women would say, yeah, it's a good bit of fun.
Yeah, but that's a married and divorced joke. That's
Yeah,
all that.
for sure,
That-
absolutely.
That's not really a sexist thing as much as it has to do with relationships. But anyway, what we were getting at, I think the women in the different sports are fine. Where I have issues, and I'm going to walk on a real thin line and then get off it real quick. Transgender thing. I don't think that a biological male should be in a female sport, even with the treatments, because it's not fair. They have Title IX in the United States. I don't know what they do in England or in
I honestly don't know 100%. My opinion is we're now in a position as a species that everything's almost in a gray area, and if I don't want to stop people from competing,
but you need to make a third category then.
Exactly, and the problem is there's not enough of those people to make that third category relevant. So it's a real gray area. Now, you're looking at it as black and white, and I'm just trying to expand the mind of saying, I'm not saying there's your answer is not the wrong answer. My answer is not the wrong answer. We're all right, but we're all wrong, and it's because we're figuring it out.
Yeah, we're in the middle of something we started that we made ourselves.
Exactly.
It's not as difficult as it sounds. It's really simple.
In 20 years' time, we'll be looking at it like, why was this such a problem?
What's that?
In 20 years' time, we could be
well,
about this, like, why is this a problem? And
it's the way that they'll figure it out is they're going to make a third category. And that's
what will take
realistic way you can do it.
Agree with you. I'm on the thing as imagine, like, I always try to put my thing is I put myself in that person's scenario. So I was like, if I was my daughter and I was competing and I'm considered best in my city, so city of Worcester, best in my county, Worcestershire, one of the best in England, and I go and compete for the best of England, and then I go against somebody who is theoretically a biological male by birth, and they beat me wow, like they thump my ass or kick my ass, I'm gonna be a bit sour about it. Like I just would. It's just who I am.
Every right to be. And I think that's going to be a trouble.
But at the same time, I look from their point of view and I go, why didn't I step in their shoes? And I'm like, I've been competing as a male in this sport, but I found where I am as a human being, as my gender. And it's complicated, and that's the problem. It's so complicated.
Then they need to here you go. Here's the answer. You've got the option to not go where you think you need to go as far as taking all the medications and becoming female, because you know that that's going to discontinue. The answer to your question is that will stop you from being able to perform in sports.
But it should. That's the question. That's the answer, though, isn't it? That should not be the reason. Like the fact
you can't take the physical structure away from somebody. You can take away you can make them grow a beard or not grow a beard. You can make them have breasts or not have breasts. You can't put a skeleton and muscular structure of a man on a female and expect it's different.
No, I agree with you, and I think
we're going to hit an area here that's going to get me in trouble with the boss. So I got to stop this one. We could go down this all night. I got all kinds of opinions about it because I'm not against.
I don't think you're wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all, because you're looking at it from a very black and white point of view. All I'm saying is it's very grey in the world, and I know you agree with me. We're just not ready for that yet. Do you know what I mean?
It's like electric cars in America. Just because you don't make oil doesn't mean we're ready for electric cars. Just because you don't want to have gas stations doesn't mean that we have places for people to buy a $70,000 car because they can't afford gas.
And it takes time for people to get used to it. Come on, if you would have gone to somebody in the 1950s and said, in like 50 years' time, women will be like big bosses, they will run companies, they will be big people in business, they look at you like you were insane. Like, why would you do this? They should be at home looking after the children. They should be cooking my dinner. But that was the attitude. That was the attitude. And we evolve, we change our opinion because we realize more and more, because we're constantly getting better. It doesn't mean anyone's wrong. It just means that person's a little bit more behind. And that's not a bad thing, because sometimes it takes the old school to realize where you came from.
Well, yeah, but your old school eventually, like dinosaurs, dies off, and the new population is going to have different morals and values.
Yeah,
And
I'm
that's
gonna be a dinosaur one day. My view, I think I'm an open-minded individual. I'm going to come across as a nutcase.
yeah, but you could be an open-minded person. Doesn't mean that you're gonna that everybody's going to agree with you.
No.
I mean, when you're looking at on the East Coast, for instance, in the United States, in New York, in that area, Washington D.C., they're much more progressive thinking than anybody within 300 miles of me right here. But their world view is limited to the Beltway, the area where they live and they grow and they make their job and all that other stuff, where everybody's more like-minded because they're all progressive because they think differently and they don't have trees. They've got roads and they've got super centers and malls and things that are all handy and nice. And you want to go out to eat, there's 75,000 restaurants you can go to. And if you want to go watch a movie, you've got options. In rural America,
it's a bad thing sometimes because
in middle America, well, here in the middle of the United States, it's like a whole different world. You've got to worry about gas because gas isn't right around the corner everywhere you go. You might have to go 20 miles between here and the next place you're going to go to find a place to fill up your tank. You might not get to see the movie of the month right now because you don't have time to go we call it taking a ride into the city. It's 28 miles. To some people, that's no big deal. To other people, that's like a major event. You're going to gather up the kids and the family, and load them into Winnebago, and we're going to go to the city, and we're going to hit everything. We're going to go to Target. We're going to go to and Costco and all of that. We're going to do all in one round trip. And while we're there, we're going to go stop at Applebee's and have an afternoon dinner or whatever, lunch at Applebee's, because that's what's there instead of this little mom and Paul kettle shop that's down the street from you over here. That's just a man and his wife trying to make a living. The environment you live in here, if you tried to tell people in Oklahoma that you have got to go to electric cars because that's the way it is, and you can afford it, you're gonna catch a lot of hell because that's just not true. They don't have an electric vehicle that's going to replace. We lost him again. Come back. Where did he go? Now I got nothing. I can't talk to anybody. Wow. Well, that cut me off right in the middle of a great thought. I don't know what I'm going to do with it now. Teresa, how you doing? I see you in the chat down there. Here he is back again. Did you?
Sorry, I got kicked off. I don't know what's going on.
It has to do with being 2 continents away.
2 continents away.
So anyway, what I was saying was,
you had to drive.
The world that Teresa Baxter lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and the world that I live in here around Oklahoma City, miles apart. They just don't go together. And you can't have a diesel truck replaced by any electric vehicle that's on the road right now. You can't have a diesel.
But it will die before it gets to the next place.
Yeah. And there's no place to fill it up. They try to get progressive in Shawnee, which is 11 miles the other direction, but it's the biggest small town around here. And it's got a Walmart. So that means everybody goes there. And it's got restaurants because it's got a Walmart, because everybody goes to the Walmart. But once you get away from that, 10 miles away, which here I am, 13 miles away, basically, the world is different. They have 3 electric car ports in Shawnee, in a strip mall that you would never know to go look for them there. Away from the building. You have to be at the complete back end of the parking lot to use them. So if you're going to go to Petco, which is a pet store here in that shopping center, and you want to have an electric car and fill it up all your shopping for dog food, basically, you got to walk across an entire parking lot to get into the store and leave your car on the other end of the building and let it do its thing. And I don't even know, I'm not worldly enough to know how long it takes to fill up an electric car.
I have no idea. I would take hours, to be honest. It takes me hours for my phone it takes about an hour for my phone to fill up. So
this little watch takes 15 minutes on a rapid charger. This little high-tech little thing here charges this watch up on a magnetic connection. And it takes a fully dead watch and reloads it within a half an hour.
And there's me with my wind-up watch.
Yeah, and okay, so now you're talking about a car, and you're going to plug it in, and they rate them at 300 miles. I sold cell phones for many years. These things right here, they have batteries in them. The best charge you're ever going to get on a cell phone is the first time you charge it up, and every subsequent charge that you put on there is degrading the battery because it's basically two chemicals. They're bumped together when you plug it into a charger that boil. What happens when you boil water? Steam. What happens when steam goes after a while? You don't have any
down because you get evaporation.
All the chemicals in the battery eventually go away because of that exact thing. They have microscopic air bubbles in them, or microscopic vents that let it blow off the heat. In older phones, you used to feel them get hot. You'd be talking on them for a while, and they would actually get hot. It's not really hot enough to burn you, but people get excited about it, and they want to. Hold on a second. Something came up here.
All right, there was.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say is the battery eventually goes down to nothing no matter what you do. That's why you bought new batteries for it, because you had to go get another battery. The first charge you put on that battery is the best one, and everyone after that is going to be less.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. On an electric car, you've got lithium batteries, just like this iPhone.
Yep.
The same thing's going to happen. Now, when you have a V8 motor on a Chevy pickup truck that was made in 1982, and my son buys it for his first car when he's in high school that he's going to have to get around town in, he's going to buy a car that's got lower compression because the engine's worn out and it's had time. The suspension is loose because it's been driven for 150,000 miles and it's been beat down. The transmission's not as stout as it would have been because it's been shifting for 25 years. And you just know that's going to happen, but you can live with it because it's going to burn a little oil, and you can fix an oil filter or an oil seal. You can do minor things to it to keep that thing together until you get enough money to buy a real car. If you buy a used electric car 10 years from now, that most expensive component to that car is going to be that battery, because they are expensive as hell. That's why they cost $42,000 for the cheapest little tiny electric car you can buy is close to $45,000 US. That's insane. My first car was $1,800. I got a 69 Mustang with a 302. It was damn near perfect. The car was beautiful. I paid $1,700 for it. 3 years after that, a guy offered me $5,000 for that car, and it ran perfectly. Everything was good on it. It was a beautiful. And I beat it to hell because I was a kid, and I tortured it, and it eventually died on me. And I learned that I'm an idiot. That's what I learned. You do that with an electric car right now. Somebody buys one of these Prius or whatever they got now.
Yeah.
Rick Hughes owns one of these half electric, half gas cars. He's going to drive it for 4 or 5 years. He's going to turn it in and buy another one. Good for him. Whoever bought that one that he's got, it's already been charged 300, 400, 500 times. That battery is wasted. So when he goes to the car to turn it in or get it repaired, they're going to say, well, your battery cell is no good, and you're going to have to replace it to get one of those. It's so many amps, yada, yada, yada. A car battery in America right now costs about $100 to $150 for a 12-volt battery that's put in a new Jeep or a new Chevy truck. They're about $150 because of the way that they're built. If you get a battery that's for an electric car, it's going to be 12 times that amount, because then you have to replace all of them or none of them. Because if you take one and you overload one cell and the other 3 cells are lower, the one that you're replacing is going to have more draw on, and it's going to wear that new battery out faster. So they're going to make you change them all out at the same time. In essence, you're going to buy a used car that you have to buy another half a used car to replace the batteries in it so it can be used for any length of time. Long story short, we're not ready for electric cars yet. The world is not ready for electric cars yet. And forcing us to buy them because they don't want to make oil is stupid. Now, what does that have to do with the Bucs? I have no freaking idea. How we got down that road, I don't know. But we're going to have to change gears. have to go on something different.
Let's talk free agents.
Let's talk about free agents. If I had my choice of free agents right now that are available, it would not be. You brought this up before the show.
Yeah.
Julio Jones, no. Julian Edelman, no. People have been talking about, well, he's been hanging out with Gronk. We need to get him. The man's got knees that are like Lego bricks. They snap, and they just don't work. The knees are gone. He doesn't need to go back. Julio Jones hasn't completed a year in recent memory to me that I can remember. And it's always something. He gets injured and he's out 5 or 6 games out of the year. But he gets premium money. So why do you need that? I don't know.
So who's your guy?
I think our primary thing we should try to do is get Sue to come back.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we haven't got anybody behind him ready yet. That's that caliber of a player.
No. We just drafted a guy. You can't expect a drafted guy to go straight into it.
No, it's a mess.
Also, people seem to forget the position that Sue actually plays in the team. A lot of people turn around and point out players, and they forget that certain players aren't DNs, that they're actually linebackers and such. All right, can you go to bed? That's my son. He's just come downstairs.
That was kind of cool. A little family hour. We don't have
He's snooping now. He's a Bucs fan too, so he's cool.
That's good. Start him young.
Start him young.
He won't know what this is. The old guy.
He'll learn. So I got a couple here. We got Sue. I got Julio Jones. One reason only. Godwin doesn't have a timetable yet, so he's a viable pick. Buccaneers have a bit more money.
Garland, he's going to be back in December. That's what
I got Trey Flowers, who hasn't been signed. Used to be a Detroit Lion. Jared Cook at tight end, if people are panicking about tight ends. I got Hakeem Nicks from Chicago, who could fill in for the Sue spot, which I do think is a very good guy who could probably play a few years rather than just one. And then I got Sheldon Richardson who just finished at Minnesota, who could also do the same job. Probably not as good as Hakeem Nicks. Hakeem Nicks is a bit of a dude.
Hakeem Nicks is pretty good, but
I mean, he's not been signed yet, so I'm surprised. But I do think he is a younger Sue.
Yeah, he is. But there's got to be a reason why he's not on a team.
There's always a reason why they're not on a team, but I suppose at this point beggars can't be choosers. Well, I know we're not beggars, but we're at a position now that we can kind of cherry pick a little bit.
We could cherry pick the kicker off of one of these USFL teams that just came on, the one that's playing tonight, who never was on the team to begin at the season. The Jeff Fisher, who used to be the Titans coach.
He used to be the Rams coach.
Yeah, he was that too. He made his hay though.
6-6, 8-8. They used to call him.
Yeah, well, he had Steve Aaron McNair that made him look good for a couple of years, but he's got a unique situation in the USFL where he didn't start the season with a kicker. He didn't even fill the slot because he wanted to keep the kicker wasn't important, and he could use that position opening to put something else in there. And so the first 2 weeks or so that he was in the league, he never went for a kick. He always went for fourth down, and he always went for 2 points or more on a touchdown because he didn't have a kicker. So now he's found one, and the guy can hit from 57 yards and still have 10 yards left in him easily. And the guy came out of nowhere. Now, here's the USFL. It's going to be wrapped up here in 5 weeks. Subsequently, the regular season is going to start with the NFL behind that, right?
Absolutely.
So all the gold diamond guys that they got in the USFL, there's a handful of them. They're all going to get looks from the NFL.
Some of them are going to get some shots. They're going to get a shot.
This is going to be interesting to see what happens after this offseason is done and the USFL is finished. I'm curious as to what's going to happen morphing the two, because something's going to happen. USFL is going to have no talent left because the XFL is coming back next year. So now you got 2 summer leagues that are going.
Yeah.
And the NFL is going to take all the cream and put it on the practice squads.
Yep.
And all the junk
Some
that
of them
comes
might creep into roster, but for the most part, you're right. Practice squad, because they're going to earn more on a practice squad than they will being on. You had the choice.
They get $50,000 for playing USFL.
They get
If they're on the
$250,000, I think, at minimum. I think it might be $300,000 to be on a practice squad.
Right, and it's paid off week to week to week. So
no wear and tear in comparison.
The avenues these guys in USFL are going to get, the good ones, into the NFL at whatever level they get to, is going to be a substantial increase. And that's going to be cheaper for the general managers because they can get these guys. They've been watching them for 3 months now, and they know what they can do, and they can fit them right in. And they're going to be cheap because they're non-drafted free agents, right?
Yep, or
all these
vet
free
minimum. I think some of them will be. Some of them will be vet minimum because I think there's a couple of guys who have been in the league, but that's more just quarterbacks. I think more than anything, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers.
A lot of these guys practice league kickoffs or cast-offs that are in the USFL. They were on a team or several teams in the NFL
around a little bit,
but they're going to get another chance, is what I'm getting at. And general managers are going to be looking for them, and I think that's going to change the dynamic of how things work with the personnel decisions that they make after this preseason gets going here and the USFL is done.
Yeah. What
tight ends are available if we don't get Gronk back? We got some. We got Cameron Brake. We got 2 rookies. We don't need it.
If you want a veteran free agent, Jared Cook is available, but he can't block.
Well, you get him either to catch or you get him to block. You don't really get both anymore.
No, there's not too many freaks like Gronk out there.
No, and Cameron Brake catches well.
Gronk will be back, though. I trust and believe Gronk will be back.
Yeah, for 1 more year. And then when Brady's gone, he's gone. They're going to get out together. They're going to go in the Hall of Fame together. It's all a big love fest, all at the same time. And I really wish they would just go.
Yeah, unfortunately, life isn't like that. I think Gronk is a bit of a party monster, and I think he likes the
attention.
Yeah, of course. But I think it's a little bit more than that. I think he just likes the fact that he gets the time off and can socialize and do the kind of things that he wants to do, and then come back and just hit it.
Yeah,
we'll heard the stories about how he during the Super Bowl season was faking his fitness days and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's just like, I'll leave it, and I'll stay in shape and ready to rock and roll. And to be honest, the Gronk that we've had for the last 2 years it took him a while in his first year. The second year, he kind of came out stomping. If he wouldn't have got injured, I would put money down on him to be the best tight end in football.
Who's that? Who are you talking about?
Gronk.
Oh, well.
If Gronk didn't get injured, he would probably have the best numbers in football last year.
Yeah, you combined with Brady. I mean, Brady would got career numbers.
For sure. I think you could probably at least tack on an extra 300 to 400 yards, and then tack on maybe 4 more touchdowns.
Probably. And I don't know that he needed it. I mean, he's already considered.
I mean, Mike guaranteed the MVP, so that might be the difference.
They're New England Patriots and they're Buccaneers now. That's going to go against them all the way down the line. The Bucs never get picked for diddly squat. We just don't. Not until half their career's over with and their glory days are going away. I mean, we prospectively had 13 players on the roster last year that could possibly be Hall of Fame players by the end of their careers at whatever level of career they're at. Many of them should have already been Pro Bowlers every single year they played, and last year for sure they all should have been, and when they didn't get picked because they're Buccaneers, and that happens with every single roster we get. You can't tell me that the only time we ever had good players was during 2002 to 2005.
No,
that's not the only time we were ever any good. And the only other time that I remember Bucs getting drafted or put on Pro Bowl was during Winston's first year or two.
Yeah. There was one where we had quite a few, wasn't there?
Yeah, but they ended up being on there because nobody wanted to play the damn game. So they kept kicking them off the roster and moved down
the alternates, which isn't the same thing, is it?
because
you didn't get selected. You were kind of
they got the check for being in the Pro Bowl and they put it on their resume. They were a Pro Bowl player in whatever year it was. Jameis Winston was the fifth option.
Yep.
They got paid because Peyton Manning was too old, didn't want to do it anymore. He's going to the offseason. He's done. Eli Manning was the same way. I don't remember who all they were, but it was like that. It was like the number one guy, know. The number two guy, he's injured, not going to do it. Number three guy, well, he's in the playoffs and he's done. Number four guy, Jameis Winston. Well, he'll draw some tickets, put him on, and they do it. And now he's a former Pro Bowler. Was he ever a Pro Bowl player? No. I don't think so.
No, and it was his rookie year as well that he got the Pro Bowl shout.
Right. And he went completely downhill. So,
yep.
I don't know. The Pro Bowl's kind of a messed up thing to me. I don't like the way
the popularity contest. I think everyone kind of knows that to a degree. I mean, there's sometimes you look at you can put it down to. I think Pro Bowl should really come down to raw stats. What did you do in the game? Like what did you do? If you can turn around and say, I did this, I had this many this, and I have that many that, then yeah, you're a Pro Bowler for sure.
Is that fair to a player that's like, we'll just use the name Mike Evans. He's a rookie and there's no quarterback here. So he gets good numbers, but not great numbers. It doesn't show his full potential. It just shows what was available to him because the quarterback sucked, right?
Mike Evans is disliked because he's only good at one thing that he's the master at. And this is just only my opinion. I'm not saying I think anything less of him. Mike Evans is probably my favorite player on offense. Mm-hmm. Lavonte David is my favorite player on defense. Mike Evans is the master at what he does. No one can match him.
No one decides he's going to go out and get the ball. He gets it.
You took the ball up to Mike. Mike has had. Let's go through what Mike has had before he had the GOAT. So he had, like, people say Jameis Winston is a terrible quarterback. Okay, fine. I'm good with that. I can live with that. That makes Mike even better.
Yeah. Because he got 1,000 yards with Josh McCown.
He got
1,000 yards.
Fitzpatrick.
With Josh McCown.
Josh McCown, Fitzpatrick, Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston.
Yeah, he got 1,000 yards.
That's what he got before he had 2 years with the GOAT.
1,000 yards with Josh McCown. That's the one that gets me. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
When you got talent,
Patrick never played the whole year. He was only a one or two time, 2 or 3 games, and then back on the bench.
I got Adams. Adams didn't even get going, and Adams had what people call the boat, the best of all time, in Rodgers.
Yeah,
it took him a while to get going.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. I think a lot of getting in the Pro Bowl has to do with the press coverage, whether your team actually was a good team, and if they like you. They have to like you.
You got to have a social media presence as well. And I think Lavonte David is probably the worst for social media presence because he has no social media presence because he doesn't care about that stuff. He turns his social media off during the season.
Mike Evans does a lot for community work.
I think that's why he gets a little bit recognized. I think that his biggest problem is he has up and down games. He has games where he explodes and he has games where he's quiet, very, very quiet.
Yeah, especially against New Orleans.
For sure.
His game against New Orleans is terrible.
But Mike is Mike, and I just don't think you can take anything away from him. You can't have that consistency and be considered a so-so player. He is definitely a top 5 guy. I think people look at the route tree, which is probably the biggest thing when it comes to a wide receiver. What can you run in the route tree? And he is more limited. His if you were looking at on our team, you were looking at wide receivers who are probably the best route runners. It's Chris Godwin.
Yep.
Chris Godwin, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think one thing I've always learned about Tom Brady is he likes his wide receivers to be at a certain spot. And
where they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to think about where they're going. His He wants to have the same brain with him.
It's a 5-yard slant. It's bang, 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 step, bang, 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 ball. Do you know what I'm saying? And Mike Evans doesn't play like that. Mike Evans is you sling it up top and I'll come get it for you. And you could see it. And for me, this was like the big highlight for it is I don't think having Tom Brady has made Mike Evans any better. I think his stats are worse from a receiving the ball. His touchdowns are great. His touchdowns are all-time high. You look at his yardage, he's scraping 1,000 yards, whereas before he was dominating 1,000 yards and plus, and then some.
Well, he had to share with Antonio Brown, and he's got to share with
absolutely,
Gronk, and he's got to share with.
But because Tom Brady likes his route runners. Tom Brady likes the step, bang.
If he's got 7 receiver options, he's going to hit all 7 of them and 2 that never come in the game.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And but what I'm trying to say is, you could see it in the LA game. And I said to my wife when I was watching the game, I said he just needs to sling it, just sling it Mike Evans' way. He will come down with it. Just don't be scared. Yeah. Sometimes I think he thinks it's a 50-50 ball if he throws it to Mike. It's not a 50-50 ball if you throw it to Mike. It's a 80% to 90% ball if you throw it to Mike. Trust him. And you could see as that game went on, he went more to Mike, more to Mike, more to Mike. And it's almost like it clicked. And that's when we started to have those big, like the bigger drives towards the end of the season. It's almost like I said to my wife, the Buccaneers right now just need to go for it. Just don't worry about getting sacked. Don't worry about anything else. Just play reckless, play risk it, no biscuit. Because right now we're playing don't risk it because we're scared of losing the biscuit.
Yeah, and that's Brady and Byron kind of thinking that way. I think sometimes you need to do the old draw it up on the sand and do this. And Brady doesn't work like that. He just everything with him's got to have a place and a point. And all
but he's got that much talent. He can be a little bit more reckless.
He's good enough to where he could say, just find an open spot and he knows where it is.
Absolutely.
I swear I'm going to kill this cat before.
I have no pet.
I'm just going to.
I have a son.
My God. So what was I talking about before I was so rudely interrupted? I had a thought, and
Mike Evans
and Tom Brady throwing reckless and doing backyard football kind of plays. He doesn't do that. He doesn't work that way. Everything's got a point. And the thing about Arians' offense, as far as I understand it, is there's option routes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that depending on what Brady sees, Mike Evans or any receiver has to see what Brady sees in order for it to work. Because if you see it differently, that's what happened the first 6 games of the first season that he was with.
Absolutely. When they turned around and said Tom Brady got picked and Mike ran the right route, and then this person did this and Mike read it wrong.
Right. They were going the wrong direction and not on the same area.
That's why you have audibles though. That's why you turn around and call something out and say this, and it means something to everyone else.
Well, what ended up happening is Brady put in a play that him and Gronk used, where Gronk would recognize something in the defense, whether it was a blitz, and he could just run away from it out into a quick route.
Yeah. That's that. Was it the Dallas Clark play they called it, where they used to use
wait for the defense to make his move, and when he saw the defense going
you go and block somebody, and then just for 2 seconds, and then you get that bite, and then over the top.
Take off, and you're in a pocket, and he just turn around and do a button hook, and Brady would throw it to him. But that wasn't in the playbook. That was something that him and Brady had put together, and it was an escape valve. And I think that was one of the reasons that you talked about Evans scraping by to get 1,000 yards. It's because there was so many of those Gronk safety formats out there that those 2 guys know, and it doesn't matter what anybody else on the field does. Those 2 guys are playing their own game.
They're locked in.
Right. And so there was an awful lot of times where Brady just took advantage of that and did it. And that's one of the things I really wish that he was more in tune with more of the other players. But you're not going to get that way when you're doing he's basically a mercenary now. He's coming in, he's doing a year. He's winning you a Super Bowl or getting you to the playoffs, and then he's out of here. Maybe. I don't know. Perhaps. No, I'm coming back. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that? I can't stand it. You're either in or you're out. Give me 3 years on paper and give me 3 years on the field. That's what
I get where you're coming from. I think it's just when you have veterans of that age, I think there's a lot of thought that goes into it. I think it's not just like if you've got a guy who's in his 20s, yeah, he's going to give you his 3 years. But you got a guy in his late 30s, or in Tom Brady's case, there's too much going on in the mind. Like, you got to remember, Gronk got beat up a lot, and he took a big lick during our season where he got punctured lung and multiple fractured ribs. That probably reminded him why he retired, and he was like, you know what?
That was Brady's fault. Brady turned him in.
Yeah. Tom Brady led him. He led him, and you could see the how bad he felt when he saw him go down, and he was like, "Shit, that was me."
He knew what he did, but he put Gronk on a gurney, and he got his lungs punctured for him just by putting him where that ball is. That's the one thing that Jameis used to do that pissed me off all the time is he would always
hospital passes.
Yeah, or he'd throw the ball instead of vertically down the sideline, he'd throw it this way. And so when Evans went up to get it, he couldn't. There was no chance of him coming down and having any yard after catch because he'd be lucky if he could get 2 feet down. Based on the way the ball was going,
again, that's another thing why people kind of sleep on Evans. Evans doesn't have much run after catch because he is a get up, climb the ladder, pluck the ball out of the air, and land on his ass. And he's a smart player because I've seen him do it. I've seen him get the ball, and he realizes, you know what? I got guys about to smash the living daylight out of me. Why not just go down?
Yeah, I got the first down. That's all we needed.
Yeah, and live to fight another down. People want to see the fight. I've seen games where Mike Evans has fought. I think even with the Tom Brady season, there was one where he just fought and got the touchdown. It was a thing of beauty. But that kind of thing can get you hurt, and then you're out for the season.
And he's too old to be doing that kind of stuff. His hamstring history is what kills me. For a guy that gets no yards after catch, he sure can't run very well. He goes up, he catches the ball, he comes down. If he tries to do anything else, he's out for half a game or whatever. Mm-hmm. It happens every single year. He gets some kind of hamstring problem. He'll stay in the game, but he's not vertical at all. He's only going to go so far and catch the ball and drop on his butt, and that's all he can do. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's him. So,
but he's a master of it,
huh?
He's a master of that, though. He's a master of that comeback.
He got Johnny Manziel in the NFL. You realize that, right?
I think Johnny Manziel was genuinely talented, but yeah, I do think
Manziel got to be a number 1 draft pick because of Mike Evans. It's obvious because when he got in,
I think he would have still been drafted, though.
I don't think he'd have been as high because they would have seen.
No. I don't think he'd been as high. I think he'd have been a second rounder.
Yeah, and he's lucky he was even in the league as long as he was.
I just don't think his heart was in playing football. I think
his heart was into the Budweiser. That's what he wanted.
Yeah, absolutely.
The women and the beer. That's what he was after. And he's not the first person that ever happened. Kerry Collins was like that. He was a really good quarterback in college, and he got drafted. I think he was in Carolina. And the guy was an alcoholic. And he finally had to come to face that. And the rest of his career, he was always battling what alcoholics go through.
Yeah.
And that's sad. But if you can say an awful lot about people that are, he's just an old drunk. Well, if you're not an old drunk or you've never known an old drunk, you have no idea what an old drunk goes through when they try not to be. And what happens to your body and what happens to your brain and how your mind uses information when you're going through detox and that kind of thing. It's an ugly situation. And if you ever know somebody that's going through that and you don't judge them, you just kind of watch it and see what happens. It's hard to believe that you could be an NFL quarterback and be an alcoholic at the same time and go through what they go through, to get off of alcohol and stay off of it and not have the temptation to go out and get drunk again and all of the things that go with it. When you're a big star and you got money and you're not married and you're just going out and picking up girls and all the party scene that you go to, it's a difficult place to be. And I don't know how he did it. He managed to be in the league for a few years, and you got to tip your hat to it. The guy he turned himself into somebody. He ended up being a really good journeyman quarterback, second string bench player, but he was very good at it. And it's remarkable that he was able to do that, honestly. Anyway, that's how that went. So, well, here's the thing. The only person who's commenting is Teresa Baxter. She can't talk, so she's typing.
She's commenting a lot. I can't see the comments.
No, unfortunately, when you come in as a guest, you don't see them unless you got it on your phone or something and you're watching at the same time. But she was giving me credit for her first car was a 72 Gran Torino without power steering or brakes. Oh my God. Kids today wouldn't know what to do with that, especially if it was a standard 3 on the column and they would have to clutch and everything else. Oh God.
No. Oh, yeah, that's normal over here. We have
you guys have little roads though, right? You don't have super highways in England, do you?
Our biggest is like 4 lanes.
But it's not from coast to coast or tip to stern, is it?
Our motorways.
Everything I've ever seen on TV when I'm watching shows that are based out of England, it's all little country roads. And
no. We have proper. We have like your highways kind of thing, for sure. Yeah.
I would never know that.
Do you guys use miles per an hour?
Huh?
Do you use miles per an hour on your motorway or your highways?
Yes.
What's the top speed?
Well, in some states like Montana, it's 70 or more, depending on the weather.
Yeah, it's 70 here. It's 70 here.
And in Oklahoma, it's 70 on the main highways, and then on the toll roads that have less traffic, it's 75.
Okay. So, yeah, it's 70 here, and you usually get 3 to 4 lanes.
Well, that's Americanized. I was under the impression that there really wasn't any super highways in Europe.
Now the autobahn in Germany is like insane. That's like 90 miles an hour.
Autobahn is why we have interstates. Eisenhower saw the Autobahn and he said, "You know what? We should build that in the U.S." And he got rid of all the U.S. highways like Route 66, the one that's famous from the song.
Yeah.
It used to go from Chicago to L.A. Well, when they put in I-40, which is what's here, Route 66 is north of me about 17 miles. And I-40, which replaced it, is south of me about 3 miles. Well, the interstate from I-40 goes from, I think it goes all the way to New Mexico, and then it turns into something else. But it goes basically from the East Coast into damn near the West Coast. And then there's branches off of that, and it goes on to the Pacific Highway. And that's all 4 to 6 lanes, depending on what city you're in. And some, like California, you've got 8 lanes on one side.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't think we had no 8-lane stuff.
Well, you don't have that many people. Now, LA is stupid. You don't want to live there. They got more people than you know what to do with. You got more of everything, and it's not.
I told my wife we'll go move to St. Pete.
St. Petersburg used to be a real nice place to live. I don't know if it is or not. If you are looking for Florida and you don't mind the weather, Naples is a great place to go.
Okay.
It's way south. It's right on it's like parallel to Miami.
Okay.
On the opposite coast. But they have the beaches, and they're regular beaches, and they have sea turtles and all kinds of stuff that come in down there because it's at the base of the state. Tampa's up in the center. That's why it never gets any kind of hurricanes, is because they either come across the Everglades and go through the Gulf, or they swing up the east side of the state up towards Jacksonville and go to up into North Carolina and that kind of thing. But Florida, for some reason, that little sweet spot that you want to be in the safest port in the whole damn state, it's always Tampa Bay. Always has been since the Pirates, and it still is today. Even if a hurricane's coming straight at you, for some reason it dissipates and falls apart. So it's not nearly as bad of a storm when it gets to you as it would have been
Okay.
somewhere else. If they go up the Mississippi River area, they hit Panama City and they hit New Orleans and all of that. The Mississippi
Yeah.
Delta.
Causes a lot of trouble.
That's because of the warm water there. That's where the Gulf Stream starts. And if you follow the Gulf Stream, it's away from Tampa Bay, but it comes back towards Florida down around Naples. And the stuff that comes with that, the wildlife and things. It's a beautiful place to go. You should vacation there at least a little bit and take some time to get to know the area. It is gorgeous. Sanibel
I've
Island.
been to Tampa, but I didn't survey the area very much, to be honest. It was a lot of drinking involved.
Yeah. Well, Naples is way south of Tampa. It's
we did Orlando for my honeymoon when me and the wife got married, and then we did 2 days in Tampa.
Well, that's normal for honeymoons and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. That'd be a good time going to.
We're coming back. We're coming back. We're doing our decade. We're going to have our decade, and we'll be back. 2024.
You won't even recognize the city. It doesn't even look anywhere like you did.
I don't know if I can remember. See, there's a lot of drinking going on. This time there'll be little children, so I won't be able to get in quite such a state.
Well,
it's pretty wild.
You can still go to Disney World.
Oh, for sure. And we're coming during Halloween because we're big Spooktober fans in this.
Oh, that'd be good. Universal Studios was always fun.
Yeah,
I like Universal Studios more than I did Disney because Universal Studios was a little bit older group.
Yeah. They did that Halloween Horror Night kind of thing. That's what they did when we went there.
They got the hotel of the hotel that's based on Rod Serling's Twilight Zone.
Yes, that's the one.
The bottom falls out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the elevator and the bottom falls out of it.
Yeah, we did that.
Just opened when I went there. The last time I was there, that was a long time ago. But that ride just messed me up because you actually hit zero gravity for a split second. You're floating. And that's when the camera takes your picture, people's hair is all standing out like they're out in space.
Yeah.
And the way they did it, you go up. You got all the buildup going into the thing. It goes up, and it's no big
How's
deal.
your little story about how haunted the place is and that kind of thing?
Yeah, and then the elevator just drops, and that is something you just don't like. Your body doesn't like free fall. It's no good.
I don't like being dizzy, so like my daughter, she's like, spin me, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel sick just looking at you.
Yeah, right. No, it's not a dizzy thing. This is a straight up vertical up and down thing.
Yeah, I've been on it.
The opening comes
I'll see if I can find some pictures, but I'm pretty sure I've been on that.
Yeah, I forget what they call it, but it was based on the Twilight Zone, and yeah, you did go in, and they had little ushers and butlers and things that were kind of creepy looking, and as you walk through it, because they got cattle lines going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Anyway, now. When I was there last, that was brand new, and that was probably in 1986 or 7. So,
so just after I was born.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool game. What does this say here? He's saying Disney is $100 a person if not counting parking. Oh no! How does a family afford that? How does that happen, man?
They save up for years.
Oh God, no! My dad was part of the Tampa Tribune, which is the local paper, was a Tampa paper, and so he got passes to Disney World. They just gave it to him as part of the employee perk or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I went to Disney World the first week it opened, and we went when the first week that the Space Mountain was opened, and we went all these special things. And it was back before they put all the Disney stores in Disney. They used to have on the main street in Disney World, they used to have places like full of antique pinball machines and a magic shop and a this and a that. They turned them all into like Disney memorabilia crap. But back when they first opened up, it had some really unique stores in there where you could buy really cool stuff to take home. We used to get vinyl masks and things like that.
Cool.
But that part of it wasn't as commercialized at that point, and it was a great place to go. But I had no idea what the cost was. And then when I got older and my dad wasn't the guy putting the bill and I was going myself, we used to get Florida if you have Florida driver's license, you get a discount. But from what I'm reading here from this rich fella, who apparently is not as rich as he might want to be because of the cost, he's like me, haven't been there in years, and I don't fault you for that.
I had a look to go to Disney and all. They got more than one park now, so they got a fair few now. And then to do the Universal Studio stuff, it would probably cost my family. I'm trying to do it in dollars, about $2,000.
Wow, I can't do that in my brain.
$2,000, roughly.
Wow. See.
That's like it's once a day. That's like it's once every 5 years.
Yeah, it's a lifetime family thing. That's what they're trying to pitch it as now. But back in the day, it was an amusement park.
I think it's like when you guys talk about if you were to go to France or you came to England or Italy, you know, that to you guys is probably considered like a once in a lifetime kind of holiday. To us, it's going to Italy is nothing.
Yeah, you just hop on a bus and catch a train.
Maybe not even a bus. Like the plane ride's going to cost you maybe $150 per person.
Huh.
If that. For you guys, it's going to cost closer to $1,000.
Oh yeah, because you got to cross the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus you got to get to the port. You either got to get to Miami to catch a cruise, or you got to get to New York to catch a LaGuardia to catch a plane. And I mean, they don't fly from Miami to England. I don't think. I think they fly from Miami to New York to England. You
can fly Orlando to England.
You can.
Yeah, because that's where I came from. That's how I got it. I went there. I went from Manchester Airport to Orlando.
All in one shot.
All in one shot. 7-hour plane ride.
No.
I just slept.
Man, I couldn't do that either. I can't do. Used to fly from Tampa to Atlanta. And I think that's 2 hours.
It sounds like 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and you can go from Tampa to Dallas.
That's the distance between England and Germany.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. And if you apply for Eastern at the airport here in Oklahoma City, American Airlines, they have a hub there. But when you put in an application, if they're thinking about hiring you, they give you a ticket to Dallas. And they don't tell you that you're going to go there and do a test and physical test and all this to see if you can lift luggage. But then you have a choice. You can either do your thing there and then come home, or you can do your thing there and come home tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. We're going to come home sometime, but you can stay in Dallas for a number of days if you want to. I didn't realize they were doing that when I did it. And I wish I had stayed, because I would have gone to Austin and hung out. I went there to do an interview, and I was there for about 5 hours in Dallas. And then they turn around and put you right back on a plane if you don't mention it. But everybody I was catching at the airport was talking about, why don't you stay in Dallas for a couple of days? Well, they gave me a ticket, turn it in and go tomorrow and all this other stuff. And I just never did. I didn't do it that way. But I would have liked to have taken advantage of the trip to Dallas. And
absolutely.
Nowadays you can catch an Uber and just drive to wherever the hell you want to. It was before Uber days, so it would have cost me a little bit more money than I had. But the idea of getting away and doing that's one way to do it for cheap. Just apply for an airline, and they'll send you to someplace that's a hub, centralized, so they have all the doctors and crap there to eliminate your application if you're not good enough. My back was not good enough for what they wanted me to do. I knew that.
Quite looking forward to it. So we're hoping to catch a Bucs game as a family, and I'm hoping to catch a Bucs game on my own, so I don't have to see my family.
Well,
just one that you can get a little bit wild at.
Yeah,
because with the kids, you're going to be a little bit more social. I mean,
the guy next to you isn't going to be. The guy next to you is going to be talking just like he's down at the pub too. He doesn't give a damn if there's an 8-year-old.
But I need one game like that, and I need one game with the family, because my kids, they love the Bucs too. So I gotta go with them. I gotta go one game with them. So.
See, and when I grew up down there, the Bucs sucked so bad, I never paid more than $10 for a ticket. And I always had seats on the sideline between the 40s all the time. I got spoiled, but that was before Raymond James. Now they have ushers too, where you can't go from section to section like you used to.
Yeah.
Back in the old days at Big Sombrero, you could get a cheap ticket for $10, and by the fourth quarter, you could be on the sideline. if you worked your cards right, you could get around and get down in there.
I'm a firm believer in that, though, because I think if the stadium's not sold out and you bought, like, let's say you bought a ticket to the nosebleeds, but the bottom tier, the bowl section, whatever you want to call it, isn't full, as long as you're not sitting in anyone's seat, does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
Really?
But they want the money. It's like upgrading.
At the end of the day, on game day, it doesn't matter because no one's going to pay it anymore. No one's going to turn around and go, you know what?
They have to
pay
get
that $300 now. It's done.
They have to get value to the bowl seats, though. If the old Bucs that used to suck all the time, you used to be able to go in there and people would leave. They just go till halftime.
I have no idea how I did it then, Matt, because when I went to watch the Bucs, I bought nosebleed seats. It was a really hot day. I think we were playing against the Ravens in 2014, and we were getting blown out. That might have been the reason. Maybe the stewards were looking at the stewards were looking at something else, and I snuck down. And because the second tier has the shading from the top tier,
right?
I just snuck in there, had a few beers. It was the least I've ever drank at a sports event. It was insane because it was so hot. Usually I'm supping, you know what I'm saying? I got my lip round. My lip is constantly like this, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't that day. I think I had like 2 beers the whole time because I just couldn't drink. It was so hot.
Yeah. Well, that's Tampa.
That's Tampa. That was our first. Like Orlando was like soft. Real soft compared to that. That was heat, and later on we found out my wife was pregnant at the time, and she was throwing up on people. Projectile vomiting because she was so heat deprived, so overheated and stuff. She just vomiting, and really surprised she wasn't admitted to hospital, to be honest. But yeah, we found out when we got back that she was actually pregnant the whole time.
Wow. Well, how about
and she
that?
just thought she was hungover. We went to Ybor City and had a party, and
Ybor City will get you in trouble.
We crawled to the stadium, stopped off at the I think it was the Burger King, filled up on there, and crawled our way to the stadium, and then just died in the seats in the heat.
Yeah, people don't realize how alcohol is bad for you in the heat, and people like to drink. And they get drunk, and then they get dehydrated, and then they have kidney stones, and they get all other kind of problems that can happen, and all because of the fact that they think beer is helping them out.
No, I know beer ain't helping me out. I'm well aware, but it tastes good nonetheless.
Yes, but you should drink a beer and 2 glasses of water, and then a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Water, because it just sucks.
There you go. Public health warning from Matt right there. Drink 2 beers before
here's a guy who moved to Arizona.
2 waters before you drink a beer.
Well, they're advertising that now on the advertisement for vodka and stuff. They're like, don't forget the water, and they're telling you, you don't drink alcohol straight all night long. You need to drink some water to keep your body in shape, and it's responsible drinking. And the manufacturers are starting to promote that in their advertisement, which is kind of shocking.
No, they don't do that over here. It's just drink, but drink responsibly. That's all we get.
Well,
I'm the kind of dude, I will drink a pint of water before I go to bed, and I drink a pint of water when I wake up, and that usually tends to cool me out. But cucumber's my trick.
Really?
Eat half a cucumber because of all the electrolytes and salts inside it is actually really good for your body, and the amount of water that's in cucumber is really good for you.
No, there's cucumbers in it.
No, it's not a steak.
Nope. I like the cucumber dill sauce that they put on gyros or gyros or whatever. That's about as far as it goes.
Okay.
I'd like sweet pickles though, so I guess
I love pickles. My son likes pickles too. He loves them.
My sons went to elementary school and they had a pickle Thursday. It was a pickle and popcorn day. They had it every Thursday, and they would give them a big ass kosher pickle.
Yeah.
Or they could get pickled chips, which was deep fried pickles.
Oh, even better.
And they love those things. And they get
popcorn, they call them over here.
If they didn't want that. And the schools gave it to them all free. So, yeah, they're into that. I
love that healthy eating.
I was like, where did you learn that? That's not from me. I don't know where you got that crap from. But, yeah, they like pickle fries.
Pickle fries.
That's
I have to make them then. Sounds good.
Yeah, I guess it's an acquired taste, and I haven't acquired it yet.
You'll get there one day.
No, I'm not
No,
striving.
not your thing.
No, nope, nope. I'm good the way I am. But
No, I
all
think
right, well, look, man, it's already 9:15 here. I guess that's like 5 o'clock in the morning for you, something like
it's
that.
11 minutes past 3. Still
Oh,
pretty
so
late.
just 6 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Well, that's not too bad.
So your 1 o'clock kickoffs is 6 o'clock to us. So it's 5 hours.
So it's dinner time.
Yeah.
How about that?
So we have
That's
our
like
dinner
living
and we
in
watch the
Arizona.
game.
In Arizona, you can get up in the morning on Sunday and watch a game with breakfast, and then you gotta your early game
Mm-hmm.
is 10 o'clock on the West Coast, and the late game starts at 1. So you can get done with everything and watch all the games.
That's why they like that. That's why they like these international games, because they get an extra slot.
Yeah,
They get the morning slot, early morning slot.
I can't watch a game over cornflakes. I can't do it. That damn thing comes on at 9:30 in the
eat
morning.
the cornflakes, Matt. Just have the beer. It's fine.
No,
No one's judging you. I'm not going to judge you.
I don't drink anymore, man.
Okay.
And I quit smoking 2 weeks ago.
Yes, you did say you're on the Chantix, right?
Yeah, and I
Or
haven't
something
had a
similar.
cigarette in a week. And
So what's your vice now then? Women?
Candy cane.
Have
I got
yourself
it in all
a candy
kinds of
cane.
flavors. This is a lemon. This is a peppermint. I got some other ones that are over there, raspberry and stuff. The pharmacy down the street
Mm-hmm.
has the old kind of candy canes where it's not just one flavor. They got like 1,000 different kind that you can get.
Okay, cool.
And they're 3 for $1. So a carton of cigarettes, the cheap ones that I bought, were like $60. So if you spent that $60 a week on candy cane, you can't eat them. It's just not possible. So you're good for the month. And I ordered
Thank you though.
I ordered something called Necco wafers, which you may not know about in England,
No.
but they're an old school candy that nobody likes but me anyway. So I can always catch them at the dollar store. And I got them on Amazon. I got a crate of them, 30 sleeves for $28 or something like that. And that's how I got through the first 2 weeks of Chantix and hand. You got to do something with your hand.
Yeah.
And,
I can imagine.
So I learned how to get over that, and now have gotten to the point where I don't have those moments where I'm like, I need to go to the grocery store and get some cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
My brain would tell me, you need to go get cigarettes. I don't have that now. So another month on the Chantix, and I should be purged completely. And I'm walking 3 miles a day.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know how many meters that is, but it's a damn long walk.
Yeah, you're probably walking for about an hour.
A little over an hour. It's 24 minutes a mile.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm doing pretty good. My doctor was kind of shocked, but that's what this little watch has, a map your walk kind of.
Yeah, like stephometer kind of thing.
Yeah, and it hooks with GPS. So if I go to the grocery store, I figured this out. If I go to the grocery store, it tells me how many miles I walk up and down the aisles, which is really crazy. I didn't realize how big our mall was. We got a shopping mall, which is real small by comparison to other places. But if you go from one end to the other and go into every store and just kind of.
So you're just constantly browsing. You walk into a shop, they go, "Sir, can I help you?" I'm browsing.
Yeah, that's it.
You're like this. Hey, leave me alone.
No, I'm trying to figure out, what's what and things like that. But yeah, I can do almost 5 miles in that mall and not even realize it. That's crazy. So yeah, so I'm on a health kick, and
that's good though.
I sleep better. I know that much, but
mostly I sleep like a brick, man. I sleep easy. I'm very lucky though, because I work nights, so when I get home, I sleep for like 4 hours, take my kids to school, and then go back to sleep for 2 hours, then go and do stuff around my house.
That's not healthy.
No, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to pay the bills, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I don't work. I worked nights for a few years, and I understand why you do it, but I don't. You get to a point where you got to have REM sleep, and
for sure. It's one of those things. what they say, you sleep when you're dead. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it will sort itself out a bit more when the kid's a bit more grown up. Because my youngest, who you just saw, he's only 3, so he's still figuring shit out. Once he's a little bit more settled, then I can start working
Once they
normal
go to
hours.
school, when they get to 6 or 7 years old, and
Exactly.
you get them to where they go to school and they start getting in a rhythm, and they have to go to sleep, and they know it, and they actually get tired. They don't fight you about it anymore.
My son gets tired. He just burns himself out too early. That's why he's awake. He was asleep ages ago. He just run around in circles going, "Daddy, daddy, daddy, daddy."
Once you start getting to where they're getting up to go on the bus or whatever you do to take them to school, that starts to set up a biological clock with them.
Yeah,
it makes life a lot easier.
My daughter's more like that. She's almost 7, so she's more like that. She's more settled into how she goes.
Yeah, and that's the blessing part. If you make it to that point, you've done well.
Well, I've had a vasectomy, so I've got no more to come. So I've got no worries of it being reset, because that clock gets reset every time you have a child. So
no.
So I've had a vasectomy. I'm done. Like, there's no more kids coming.
This cat has been enough of a child for me. It's gotten to the point now where it wants to do a 3 o'clock wrestling match on the bed with nobody there. Bounce off the fucking walls and stuff like that. And I look at my watch and I'm like, it's 3 o'clock in the damn morning. Go away. And he's got to do it. It's on a routine. I know exactly what time it is.
It's 3 o'clock freak out.
Yeah, it is. And their eyes are cocked and whacked
out. There you go.
I love it. But that's enough about me. And it was good to see you, Fred Swayze Moore. You didn't put up your 20-0 thing today.
No 20-0?
We'll be 20-0 in his world.
I just want to point out to everyone on the show that Cameron Brown is not number 81. He is number 6. So if you thought you had your Antonio Brown jersey was useful for another season, it's not. I do apologize.
That was a good gimmick.
Other numbers are available and other names are available.
Yes, and they also have that would have been a good
mental health warning.
Well, Bucs Skull, which is another guy that comes on live. He usually hits me with rapid fire, and the dude was talking about what do you think about them giving number 90 to such and such? One of the guys they drafted.
Yes. Logan Hall's got number 90.
Yeah, and
I'm not a fan of it.
He got drafted. He was telling me that, and I'm like, no,
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I think it kind of cheapens what JPP's done, and he's not off the team yet. I mean,
he's not.
Once they give him the number to somebody else, that kind of says that he's not coming back, doesn't it? Really? I mean, that's kind of done.
He basically sent a Twitter out.
Yes, he's like, bye. I'm done.
Bye. I'm off to Mexico. See you later, Tampa. That's what it said. See you later, Tampa. I'm gone.
But he said, see you later. He didn't say, see you never.
Yeah, something like that. But
he could come back. You never know. But
and that's the thing I don't like about all these free agents doing this shit. Either say I'm not going to come back, or I am coming back.
You just like things in black and white, man. You're so straight with it. You're like, you're either here or you're not here. There's no gray.
No Easter eggs. I don't give a damn about all that crap. I do it the old way. Maybe it's just the gray in me. This is what it is. This is what's causing it.
I'm getting it. I just got that salt and pepper look.
Well, that was 25 years ago when it's salt and pepper. Now it's just muddy gray. Anyway, I got to get off the air here. I think Keith's going to be happy that you showed up tonight and helped me get through this show. I appreciate you falling out of the sky. And if you want to do this on a regular basis,
I'm more than welcome. Us three with Teresa would be awesome. That would be cool.
She'll be back eventually. One of these
days.
Hope
she gets her voice back.
She's not happy about not being here, and she's not being here because she doesn't want to be part of the show anymore.
She's not feeling well, so we want you back.
She can't yell at her daughter, and she can't get the dog out of the room. She can't tell it to leave. So she'll be back eventually. Something's going to go her way.
I just love her personality. She has like a proper Southern girl's voice, like that. So Southern girl's voices. She just don't take no shit. I love it.
No, she's obviously there's been a lot of guys in her life that she's learned how to handle that, and that skill is there, so you don't miss anything. She doesn't have any problems letting you know where she's at. Now
that's good though. I prefer an honest woman personally.
Yeah. Sometimes they can be too honest, like the 2 ex-wives I got. Just ask them how they like me now.
I like to think me and my wife have got a good dialogue. We talk over. Our rule is never go to bed on an argument and always discuss the argument before bed. Like, just get it out and look at it from each other's point of view. So I'll go, okay.
Well, it's the second half that I had trouble with.
What, seeing their point of view?
Their point of view, yeah. I understand what you're saying, but
we'll usually discuss it. But I'm a bit of a silver tongue, so it usually goes down to what I say. But she has her moment. She wins
right now. There'll be 10 years from now, she'll say, "Remember back in 2017?
Remember in 2022?
Yeah. Something like that. That'll be
absolutely. Now we're pretty good. We try and sort it out. We try and look at it from each other's point of view and meet in the middle. That's our deal. That's our mesh, and it's worked so far. It's
if you can do
almost
that,
10 years of marriage now. So
yeah, if you can do that, you're in great shape. That's an art that is either lost or nobody cares about it anymore.
Happy wife, happy life.
My brother's younger than me, and he's got a son now that's got a son. So he's told me that people don't get married anymore. It's just not necessary. I've been informed of that.
Technically, it's not. I think it's more something that kind of solidifies your relationship. Like it's like
it's a commitment,
the stamp.
Yep. And
it's because people can get out. I mean, I've got friends of mine who are divorced. It doesn't really. It's an expensive piece of paper.
Yeah, and it doesn't give you the tax credit it used to. It used to be beneficial.
You get more for getting someone pregnant these days.
Yeah. Okay. I don't do that either.
I can't. I'm done. I'm out.
I met my neighbor yesterday that just moved in a month or two ago, and we're close to the same age.
Mm-hmm.
She's a widow, and she's a nice lady and all, but that's it. I don't want to go any further.
She's like, Matt, why don't you come and help me? Matt,
no.
Come and help me plant my petunias.
She has
look after me during this hurricane.
She's got four grandkids and 2 fully grown kids, and
that's way too much baggage.
A lot of stuff to get everybody happy. You got to make all those people like you. And I don't care that much about people. My biggest problem is I just don't give a shit what you think.
But you're a caring guy, because you wouldn't do the things that you do in the community if you weren't a caring dude. You just don't care what other people think. That's a big difference. You
just have to be able to accept the fact that I'm going to say something one day, guarantee it, that's going to make you go, what? Because
I got a great one. My family, all my dad's brothers, all married foreign women. So we're sat here. I'm sat with my wife, gone to visit my grandparents, and my grandfather, who's no longer with us, turns around and goes, "Do you know what the problem with this country is? There's just too many damn foreigners in it." And my wife turns around to me and went, "But Tom, you wouldn't have any grandchildren if you didn't have foreigners in your family." And just turned around, "Yeah, you're right," and just left it at that. And that was it. It was so funny.
I don't think there's any such thing as a foreigner in Europe, though. I think that
no, we're too mixed.
I think Europe is kind of morphed together over the centuries.
For sure. Well, that's what they did with royal families, didn't they? To keep, because you couldn't interbreed your royal family because that would be wrong. So they used to interbreed each other's royal families.
Right, the Queen of England and the King of France or something like that.
Yeah, she's part German, part Greek, something like that.
There's a rumor saying that William Wallace of the Scots and whatnot got a hold of the English Queen and hit some of that and mixed into that mess. So there you go.
Who
In the
knows?
movie Braveheart, she says, I have his seed growing in my loins, and he's dying and he can't talk. He's like, that's cruel. That bitch just got down on him and just said, "Take that." Yes.
Hey, she got hers in the end. That's the way she was looking at it. I'll get you back. I'll get you back.
He was dying. And she gives him that total up you kind of story. I love that. That's a great scene. Anyway. All right, man. Well, I'm out of here. Say hi to the Queen for me. I hear she's having a birthday soon. If she didn't have it
I know,
already,
yeah, we're celebrating her reign of 70 years.
70 years.
70 years, the Queen.
Wow. And that means that her son is almost 60 now, right? How old's
Probably. So, Prince Charles is probably in his 60s for sure. Yeah.
60 or 70s?
Yeah.
Because he was an old man when he had Lady Diana. He was 50 something then, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if he was 50, but he was definitely like 40s, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was way older than her. So anyway, yeah,
we're hoping it skips to the next one if English people are truly honest. We want William. We would prefer William. Just skip Charles because he looks like he's lost.
Well, who was it? It's Prince Philip, isn't it? The one that
Prince Philip is dead though. He died.
Well, who's the one that was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane all the time, going to the sex?
Yeah, Prince Andrew. That's one of his sons.
Okay. Yeah.
Prince Andrew. He a dodgy motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's weird.
Well, the shit's gonna hit the fan because the FBI is coming after him pretty soon.
Yeah, that's why he's disappeared. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get hold of somebody when they're in different international waters.
True.
That's why the Queens went. Yeah, I don't have a son anymore. Because it's just easier that way, you know.
Well, if what he's accused of,
is true, he deserves everything that's coming to him for sure.
I don't care how royal he is. He looked good in orange. But it won't
absolutely.
Jump.
You look. There's something fishy, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You look at the situation. There's no way that girl. I mean, I know the story to a degree. I don't follow the royals that much. There's a phrase for it. A person who's a royalist. So they're people who really follow the royals. My wife's a bit more in tune with that kind of stuff. I'm not, but we're both very anti Prince Andrew, and yeah, the stuff that he's alleged of, it just seems a bit too.
Yeah.
It's too obvious, you know.
It's too obvious, and too many people.
You can't have a picture of a girl and turn around and say you don't know who she was, and then ask the person who set you up on these rendezvous about that said person. Right? Say her name's Sandra. Oh, what's Sandra like? And then he takes a picture with Sandra, and Sandra's saying he abused me, and he's then I don't know who she is. I'm like,
I never met her. Well, you're standing right next to her.
Standing right next to her, and you asked about her.
And you were on a plane with her for an hour and a half.
For sure.
Standing right next to her. And that's like Biden talking about, I don't know anything about my son's business affairs. That
they all know.
They all know. And
every single one of them knows.
They're all, oh, what a mess. Anyway, here we go down the wrong road again. Bucs report. So we're going to call this a night, and I hope everybody who watched tonight, at least we didn't run you off too much. I'm kind of scattered all over the place, but it's preseason, off season, no season, crazy season. There's nothing a whole lot to talk about right now. So everybody get together and think real hard to sign Sue. Yes. Something to talk about.
Sign Sue or Hakeem Nicks.
Get somebody in here.
We need someone to fill that spot. I don't trust a rookie to do it and expect us to get a playoffs. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I just don't believe it's as easy.
Well, if we got somebody like Hakeem Nicks in here and
Trey Flowers, Hakeem Nicks, Sheldon Richardson, someone like that, or Sue, one of those four, I'm feeling a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and they would.
I don't want Julio again.
They need to take $8 million. That's the number.
That's the number.
Sue is wanting $9 million. That's the problem. Sue wants $9 million.
How much we got? 12, isn't it?
12, I think. Yeah.
Just pay him $9 million and be done with it. So let's get on with it. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter right now, but it will. It will if we start looking at. Well, we're going to sign all our rookies if we haven't already.
We've already signed them. They're done.
Okay, so I don't know if that counted against the available 12 or not.
The crazy thing is, by us trading down, we actually saved a shed ton of money.
Yeah, and people want to know why we do that. Well, we do that because if you get somebody in the second round that you could have gotten in the first round, you got them cheaper.
Oh, that's a story we didn't talk about the guy who came out and said that the Bucs did him dirty
by getting him in the second round.
No. There was a safety. I think he was taken by Minnesota. And the Buccaneers apparently rang him up and said, "You're going to be our draft pick." And then they traded him down, and he got took by somebody else. But there was one pick in between them. That was it. It's like if Minnesota didn't pick him, the Bucs would have picked him anyway. But he got so upset. He was like, there was a big thing about it. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he was like the second best safety, I think, off the top of my head. And he got really, really upset. Like he said, "Oh, the Bucs did me dirty." And it's like,
I didn't do him dirty if he got picked ahead of us. He got picked for more money.
Look, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, if you pick somebody else when you've promised somebody that spot, you've got that argument. But if you trade down because someone offered you something better, which they did, like at the end of the day, we used those picks, we did something with them, and we may have got a kicker, a punter, sorry, but it was in the plan. So
but the punter that we got is cheaper than the one we had. Or the
for sure, we save like $1 million. That's $1 million towards the cap. That's $1 million towards hopefully signing Sue.
Yeah. So people don't look at the big picture. They look at the little. This is how it affected me. Doesn't matter what happened around here.
He's a starter. You drafted a starter. I mean, I reckon you could have probably waited to the 5th round, but does it matter? Was there someone in the 5th round the Buccaneers feel like the luck? But the thing is, we can always do this. We can always look at draft picks and go, "Oh, we should have done this." How many draft picks that are 4th round or less make it more than 2 years?
Not many. And Rick Hughes
has got a very good chance of making it. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, if he didn't get replaced by one of the USFL guys. I'm not kidding, man. This USFL stuff is going to bring out kickers. And I
don't think he'll bring out punters, though. I think he'll bring out kickers for sure.
Well, yeah, you're right. Place kickers are probably the thing that's going to come out the most. And there's a couple of undersized running backs that have really looked good that could get a second look in an NFL squad because they were 5'9" instead of 5'11", something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I got to go. I got to get out of here. I mean,
sorry, I keep hanging you up.
Staying up for 25 minutes. We are gone. And people in Bucs land, we will see you next Saturday night around 9 o'clock. And we might try to get Slick in here again. If you want to come back.
Anytime.
Just hit me up on the messenger thing. There's a whole process to getting you on the other side of the thing. And you have to get a code from Keith and all this. I don't know if we want to go through that mess or not. You don't really need to unless you want to read comments. But that's the big
I don't mind reading comments. That's fine. We can go through the rigmarole. That's fine.
Well, we have to coordinate because of your time zone and Keith is in Florida, so that's earlier than me.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry. It's cool. Right now, we had a good show.
Yeah, we had fun, and we'll get more structured next time, I swear. And Fred, no, I'm not going to go for it. Her name is Rita, and that's all I know. All righty then. Okay, guys. Well, this is the end of the broadcast. Go Bucs. Have a good night. And we'll go for another ring here at the end of this season, hopefully. And we'll get our 3rd. We'll be going this way. Like that.
Oh, yeah.